Hey, No Why listeners, since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I wanted to take this opportunity to highlight a couple of episodes that the No Why podcast has done in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link two episodes in the show notes that you can click on and listen to. This predates YouTube era of the No Why podcast, but I'll just talk about them for a moment. And if they're interesting to you, then you can click on those links and you can go check them out. The first is an interview that I did with Mark Mitchell. He is the co-founder of Porch Republic, and he also is the Dean of Academics at Patrick Henry College, which is my alma mater. So it was fun to interview him 2 years ago, and it was during a series that we were doing on politics and getting involved in politics. But the reason that I think this one is really appropriate for Mental Health Awareness Month is because the focus was on localism. And localism is the idea that you should really be rooted in the community that you're in. In fact, one of the things we talked about was how a more local focus in our politics can actually be a balm to some of the hostile partisanship that we see around us today that can be so stressful and even anxiety inducing. And of course, being locally rooted in communities, in embodied communities of real people who actually live around you, and knowing what's going on in the environment in which you live can also be a balm to anxiety. We talked about how today young people are often told to go far, to get out of here, to get away. Nobody's ever really told to put down roots and stay put and invest in the community that actually raised you. But what if it did? What if we did emphasize that? What if we did talk about rootedness? Today, people are often seen as successful if they go away. But he said a tree isn't successful if it's constantly on the move. We see a tree as being successful if it stays put, if it puts down deep, deep roots that allow it to grow tall and strong over hundreds of years. So it's a really insightful conversation. I really appreciate Dr. Mitchell's insights, and I think you will too. And I think it's appropriate for Mental Health Awareness Month. The other interview that I'm highlighting is one I did with Lauren McAfee, specifically about her book called Beyond Our Control. Because really, when we are talking about anxiety specifically, what that boils down to is what we do with our feelings to cope with a lack of control. And Lauren has an amazing story of many heartbreaking events, one right after the other. And she really had to deal with that anxiety that came from that. And she even talks about her personal experience of how anxiety often manifested itself physically for her. So if anxiety is something that you struggle with, or something that is somebody that you know is struggling with, I think that you will appreciate Lauren's conversation on the No Why podcast, and you may want to check out her book. So you can see both of those interviews in full at the links, and you can listen to them anywhere that you get your podcast other than YouTube. But I will be back next week with a new episode, and I hope that you enjoy these in the meantime in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month.